Dual-wielding hammers blessed by Signamar. You would think the Arch-Lector would have some kind of bonus versus infantry or something, but in fact he does not. Essentially, he's just like a cheaper Volkmar without regeneration, which is pretty decent actually. I mean, of course, the prayer buffs are very strong, especially in a matchup like Vampire Counts, where the need to go wide is pretty real. Definitely would say Volkmar is usually a more competitive pick, but the Arch-Lector can be a fun one sometimes as well. We've got him leading the way for the Empire here, myself up against Black Phillip's Vampire Counts, Blackguards. He's got Manfred there, 3 War Wagons for me for missiles, Spearmen, got 3 Flagellants, including the Tattersouls, Sigmar's Sons, 2 Halberdiers, Spearmen with shields, got Reichsguard here, Regiment of Renown, Zintler's Reichsguard, Firecaster on foot, and of course a Warrior Priest, like I said, leading the infantry. So yeah, because the Arch-Lector is so cheap, I can kind of go all in on the infantry spend here and just go full on Flagellant and Spear spam, basically. Up against us, we've got the Chill Guys here, very good choice against the Empire to counter Kite. We've also got Blood Knights, a couple of cheap Black Knights, very cost effective. Zombies up front, Grave Guards, very solid in this matchup. Good old Manfred von Karstein up in the air, Vargolfs. We played a few games, Black Phillip and I, and he did say that this build does not take advantage of Corpse Carts, which he has been using quite a bit lately. I'm a huge fan of Corpse Carts, you guys should know that. If I can be said to be a fan of anything on Vampire Counts, probably Corpse Carts, and some of the Knights too, to be honest, are pretty cool. But anyway, let's get back to it. You can see I'm just kind of protecting my backline more or less, just kind of keeping the Arch-Lector and the Reichsguard in reserve, waiting for Black Phillip to commit some of his cavalry here. He's going to come, like, try and charge through the back of his lines into my Flagellants, and they'll get some pretty good contact, like right here, especially those Blood Knights. They still don't get full contact, though, and because of some of the infantry bracing changes, charging through the back of your own units can sometimes not work. I mean, it worked okay before, but now it's maybe not so effective, although it does seem like it's mulching through those spears pretty good. Line is holding for now, and the War Wagons are just teeing off on Manfred as he flies around. He's going to be high priority target number 1, but Arch-Lector, leading the Zintler's Reichsguard, pushes away those Vargolfs. Gonna crump a zombie summon real quick, and then swing on over, try and help out in this frontline engagement where all these Knights have piled in. We are taking some pretty significant damage here. You can see, even just the bonus versus infantry in sustained combat, those Black Knights will do quite a bit of damage to the Flagellants. We're gonna throw a Flaming Sword of Ruin just to chase away the Chill Guys. Whether they stay or whether they go, it'll not be great for them. And unleash a nice Burning Head down the line of these Grave Guard. Does clip some of the Chill Guys as well, so pretty good stuff there. The damage of Burning Head was nerfed, but the area actually is a little bit bigger, so it hits more models. Probably about the same effect. I haven't tested it fully, but taking a look at kind of things here. The center is looking a little bit rough for me. These Reichsguard charged in. The Arch-Lector providing all of his buffs, state troops, and you know, so on. Fighting here. The Reichsguard will take significant damage, but they're up to, what, 67 attack with flaming attacks. Of course, Warrior Priest nearby. He also providing some buffs in here as well. And that flaming damage, of course, every time I get a Kindle Flame, anytime I cast any sort of spell, give a nice little damage spike on all these units nearby. There aren't any straight-up regenerating units besides the Vargolfs, and they, of course, will take some extra damage as well. Manfred is trying hard to get rid of the Kindle Flame, though. He comes down, dives. Firecaster here with the nice zombie summon to prevent the Reichsguard from really fully supporting. But Manfred doesn't want to stay for too long. He's got the War Wagons continuing to pressure him, and I've still got plenty of reserve halberds and spears. The Knights, though, are still relatively healthy, so it's going to be interesting. The Flagellants have mostly done their job of clearing out Black Phillip's kind of zombies and Graveguard and so on. Still working on a few of them over here, like these Stearnsmen, but as long as we just hold them in place for the time being, we should be okay. As long as we can, like, take down Manfred. Yeah, Blood Knights, Black Knights, fighting in this big mass of spears. The issue they're going to have is previously, you know, it would have been a lot easier to pull out of this engagement, but now with the changes to kind of mass and bracing, Black Phillip's having a little bit of a harder time kind of operating his cavalry efficiently. You can see those models getting dragged down there. Like these guys, those Halberdiers, see they don't hardly get knocked over. It does look like they were still mostly able to escape, the Blood Knights. But, yeah, the problem is that they don't fully escape and then kind of their order gets stopped, right? So they don't fully disengage. It does require a little bit of intense micro sometimes, but the War Wagons get a little bit low on ammo. Manfred's still alive as well, which is not the greatest thing. A nice invocation of the heck, hitting at all of his expensive cav units. Actually didn't hit the Blood Knights, unfortunately, but they seem to have gotten some pretty good value so far. Spears, again, just kind of protecting the back. Unfortunately, I am going to lose this Firecaster here to those Vargulfs. Not a lot I can do about that, but just going to stick to my guns, you know, circle the wagons, hit the full-on Hussite tactics with the halberds and the wagon forts and everything. Yeah, stand against these foul Blood Knights, ghosts and everything. Manfred's just taking an absolute beating, though, and it has a big problem for him. The War Wagons will be caught up with that speed debuff and how tired they are from, you know, shooting and running and everything. Chill Guys, of course, with the speed debuff. They are going to get significantly slowed here. We'll still be able to pull back. War Wagons, thankfully, are chariots, which still have really good mass, and pull through our own lines here and leave the cav to fight the halberds. Empire halberds do seem to be a bit better. I've used both Empire and Bretonnian halberds in a couple battles now, and they seem to be pretty solid. The cheaper cost definitely makes them a lot easier to use, and against a faction like the Vampire Council, you don't have to worry about missiles at all. They actually are a pretty good proposition for 450 for Bretonnian peasant, men-at-arms polearms, and 550 for the Empire State Troop polearms. At this point, I've taken a pretty decisive lead on the balance of power. Got another Flaming Sword of Ruin here to give some magic damage as these units kind of fight the Chill Guys and these other Black Knights and everything. Mostly just the cav and monsters left. I mean, granted, that is quite a bit. I just have so much infantry here that can kind of grind through them. We'll see. The Vargulfs are still relatively healthy. I think we did manage to finish off Manfred. No, not quite. He's still there. Trying to get some last heals in if he can. The balance power is slightly in my favor, but definitely not unwinnable if the Vampire Counts can get some terror routes. But unfortunately, this Vargulf is starting to crumble. Get some more shots on Manfred there. War Wagons just absolutely brutal. And with that, Manfred was going to go down there, and that was going to be the end of the game. So Black Phillip throws in the towel, and it's a win for me. So well played to him. Definitely a fun one. I would say that I'm a fan of the mass embracing changes so far, at least. It seems like the spear and halberd units are a bit more effective at their role to, you know, kind of stop cavalry, hold the line. It's not as easy to pull through as it was before, so that's definitely a benefit. But the Arch-Lector kind of was supposed to be a focus about him, but I ended up talking mostly about the bracing and infantry changes. He just mostly runs around and gives all the buffs and everything. Thankfully, didn't get sniped by Manfred or the Vargulfs or anything, so that was pretty nice. Granted, I mean, he is faster than the Vargulfs, I think, so he can probably get away. But regardless, yeah, the Reichsguard didn't actually get that much damage value, but they were able to tank quite a bit of damage. War Wagons absolutely paid for themselves, almost twice over in one case, just pretty much only shooting Manfred, which is great in and of itself. The value, it's interesting, on shooting units that heal is a little bit inflated, like Manfred ending up having to heal himself quite a bit. That means the damage value on these War Wagons is a little bit inflated from the true value, but Stearnsmen, they did a great job. 1,000 points, definitely cost effective. The Black Knights, not quite there in terms of damage, unfortunately. The Vargulfs were not too far off. If they had gone the full course of the game, they might have actually paid for themselves at the end. I don't know if they would have won. Chill Guys also not quite paying for themselves, but that slow theory is nice to catch those skirmish units. Blood Knights, decent job. And the damage value kind of interesting here, considering how much of my army I had left. But anyway, yeah, Arch-Lector, I guess it's kind of fitting that the focus drifted to the army itself rather than the Arch-Lector, because ultimately he is a support lord, and that's pretty much it. Like, he's really not that great of a combatant, all things considered, but he is cheap, and he allows you to bring a very wide army of kind of low to mid-tier troops, with maybe a couple of elites. I mean, again, same ability set as Volkmar, other than being able to take the wagon, which, by the way, just saying, you know, Packmasters can ride Brood Horrors, you know, the Warlord can ride a Brood Horror. Is there any reason why we can't get the War Altar of Sigmar for Arch-Lectors as well, as a mount choice? I mean, just to have them be unbreakable and cause terror. Obviously, they wouldn't have the regeneration, but still, I guess it would give them a banishment as well. I think that'd be awesome. It would be a great change for the Arch-Lector and definitely give them some cool flavor, but Until that point, I mean, basically he's just similar abilities, but cheaper. You also get this Crown of Command, which can situationally be okay. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And this one here, the Mace of Hellstrom, does give him fire damage and 60% base weapon damage, which seems pretty nice, but I mean, his weapon damage is... it's alright. It's not amazing to begin with. This will certainly make him a little bit better of a combatant, but it is a pretty expensive item. I don't know that it's really worth taking, especially given that you can get the fire damage passively from a Warrior Priest, which, you know, comboing these two guys together is quite strong. Both very cheap. You can take them mounted or unmounted, kind of one or the other, but keep in mind that the Grand version of both of these prayer buffs does stack with the base version, so the Hammer of Sigmar, the Shield of Faith, do stack with the Grand Hammer of Sigmar and the Grand Shield of Faith, so in certain situations you may want to use them on top of each other. Probably not the melee attack buff so much, but the Grand Shield of Faith in particular, if you need to shrug off a big damage spike, can be quite useful to pile those on top of each other. And then, like I said, you can just go super wide here. Like, I had tons of mid-tier troops there. Between the Flagellants, I would consider kind of mid-tier. You know, Sigmar's Sons, Halberdiers, War Wagons, also kind of mid-tier units, right? So you can basically take a full stack of mid-tier units and support them very efficiently with the Lector, which for me is what the Empire is all about. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.